Praise the Lord, everyone. And welcome, welcome, welcome. We are so excited today to have you all that have tuned in and those that are here live with us at our first Women in Business Kingdom Entrepreneurs Network Teams Roundtable Discussion. Minding the business that pays you. I tell you, we're going to get deep into it today. Y'all ready? Y'all ready? All right, if you are already an entrepreneur and a business owner, or if you're thinking about doing so, get your notebooks out and listen up, because we have got a wealth of knowledge here on this panel today, and we are so blessed to have women that own multiple businesses, women that have dual careers. We've got women whose husbands own businesses, and I tell you, we're just excited. We got a lot to talk about, so we're going to jump right in. I am Minister Yolonda Burgress, and I am also a business owner. I own YB Cares Realty, as well as YB Cares Consulting, and I'm also a licensed mortgage loan officer and real estate agent. I will be adding a few questions in here today that I'm going to ask, and I just tell you, get ready, buckle up, because we're going up. Y'all ready? All right, I got some questions. First of all, ladies, please introduce yourselves. We're going to start right here and go down.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Tony Plater McBride. I am one half of T&E Catering. I'm also another half of Elements Transportation, and I'm also a co-founder of browngirls.org.
And may I add, she smells delicious. She smells like food right now, making me hungry. She been working.
Amen. Praise the Lord, everybody. My name is Kim Smith. I am a licensed real estate agent, but I'm also part owner of AK Custom Floors and Steps. I am a licensed Maryland home improvement contractor. So we do that, as well as I am part owner of AK Collections, which is an online boutique and vending business.
Give it up for Minister Kim.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sharella Lee. I am from Spartanburg, South Carolina. I am the CEO and manager of Small Cake Spartanburg, located in Spartanburg, South Carolina, and also the CEO and manager of Small Cake Somerville, located in Somerville, South Carolina.
Hello, everyone. I am Praising Gregory, who also goes by Pray. I am the CEO of the brand The Pray Apparel. Many of you have seen. We are a streetwear clothing brand. Our motto is we're a faith-based background brand that expresses positive street vibes through clothing. That's it.
Give it up.
Hello, everybody. My name is Brianne Smith. I am the owner of Let's Be Shady, a unique eyewear brand for unisex, female and male, and kids. I also am a freelance stylist, wardrobe stylist.
Give it up for the ladies on the panel. And I don't know if you've noticed, or you may have observed, we have quite a few different generations here. I believe we've got Generation X, we've got a millennial, I believe we've got our generation, is it Y? Y. So we've got, I don't think we have any baby boomers up here today. But we are excited. We are excited to share with you a little bit about their businesses. The first question, I want to get right into it, is this. What is your why? Why did you all start a business? We're going to go again from left to right.
So one of my whys, as far as food was concerned, I wanted to start a catering business because food ministers to people. And that was one of my biggest reasons. I noticed that when I cook for people, how they're, it just changed them. So that was a why for me. And I never, ever wanted to see anybody hungry. The transportation business, because I like to travel, I like to meet new people, and it actually was my husband's passion, and then it became mine. My Brown Girls Foundation, came out of, I worked in recreation department in DC for many years, and I just really wanted to be able to do something that was more faith-based. So that's where Brown Girls came from. It says Brown Girls, but we cater to everyone.
Wonderful. Now, I have a quick question for you when it comes to the transportation industry. We know that is a male-dominated industry, so tell me, how do you navigate that? In 2 words or less.
How do I navigate that? I just keep pushing.
That's it. Keep pushing. Keep pushing. All right, Minister Kim.
Well, I guess my reasoning or why for going into being an entrepreneur, my husband, when I married him, he already was an entrepreneur, and it kind of was by default. His business was Al Smith Home Improvement, and there were some things I saw that he could streamline with the business, so he said, you know what, you're going to be my business partner. So that's how I got started. So out of that came AK Custom Floors and Steps, and then it just grew. I decided to go, because I was dual career for a while. I was working a W-2 job, and I decided to go full force into being an entrepreneur with no backdrop or no backing as a W-2 check coming in because of my children. It allowed me the freedom to be able to do what I need to do with them. I have 6 children, and at one point I was going to 3 different schools. And as a mom trying to navigate going to 3 different schools, with the kids, being on a W-2 job, something I had to report to daily and had to be on a stringent time frame, it just wasn't working for my lifestyle. So I decided to take it. My job at the time said that they were going to change us from employees to contractors. And at that point, I went and took my real estate class and got my license, and I said, yeah, I'm going to check on out. And I didn't go back. So it's been since 2015. Not that it's always easy, but for me and my lifestyle, it works.
That's a good why. The children. Anybody ever been there? Anybody ever been there? You had to choose between your children, your job? Yeah.
Okay, I can say I have a lot of whys, but I'm going to sum it up because we can't be here all day. But one of my whys for stepping out into entrepreneurship, I can say that my husband and I both, since the tender age, I met him when I was 14 years old. We've always been reachers, if that makes sense. Always trying to do something. We've started things, and some of the things we started didn't make it. They failed. That's the reality of entrepreneurship, that not everything you do is going to survive, but eventually you're going to tap into something and the door is going to open up. So I can say that one of my whys is the flexibility. Being able to operate in ministry, also being able to operate with my family, like she just spoke of. You have so many things pulling on you from so many different directions. And another thing is that I like to employ people. That's a passion for me. I enjoy seeing people get their paycheck or being the one responsible, for them making their ends meet, because I know what it feels like to lack and not have enough. But that's one of my whys.
Awesome. And praise ye.
So I was trying to feedback off everybody just to see what their why was. But my why is I worked at a Jewish food company. Anyone know Manischewitz, the wine company? I worked there. I'm a graphic designer first. I went to college to be a graphic designer, and I graduated with my bachelor's in fine arts. So I took my gift, being a graphic designer. I said, instead of designing for others, how about I design for myself? So I took what I learned in the Jewish food industry for packaging and marketing and sitting certain products on shelves. Why not do that with my own? So I started making clothing. I actually have one of my mentors here, Jason Moody, helped me start my why. In the church industry, there's a lot of dressing up. People like suits and big hats. I'm not one of those. I like to be comfortable in what I wear. I can still minister and being comfortable. So started with clothes for every day, from bishops to mothers to missionaries to kids to babies. We can all still be comfortable in what we wear and still praise God. And so I took that and started the Pray Apparel. So my why would be just transforming new generations and traditions, putting us together, and we all can be comfortable together.
Thank you for bridging the gap.
So I would say my why, I went to college for business administration. So I was trying to find a job straight out of college, trying to get a job. So I knew I never was gonna work with a 9 to 5. Like, it's just not for me. Still to this day, like, it's good. I thank God for what He has given me, but I'm a creative person, so I don't feel successful unless I'm being creative. So at first I'm still a stylist, but that was my main focus. And I'm like, well, I could have like something to give my clients when I'm styling them. So sunglasses just happen to be one of my favorite accessories. So I started finding shades that would fit people who didn't want the everyday shade. Like, it's shades you won't find anywhere else. So that was how I started doing the shades. I started like right after COVID or during COVID kind of. So I said, I'm gonna just do it, like just branch out. Like, why not? It's better than no income at all. So that's why I started. But then it started just being something I really love, especially doing the photo shoots and campaigns. Like, being creative is one of my favorite things. So that's my why.
So we got a lot of whys. A lot of whys. Can anybody relate to some of these whys? Some said family. Some said out of necessity because they didn't want to dress like everybody else with the big hats. They wanted to create something comfortable. A lot of times businesses are birthed out of a need. I encourage people, it's one of my businesses, YB Cares Consulting. I help people take an idea and turn it into a business. And a lot of times it is using what you already have or looking around and seeing what's lacking, what's missing, and you be the answer to that question. Now we're gonna move on. Now here we go. You two ladies mentioned, and you also mentioned that your husbands had some businesses and then you kind of joined in with them and tell us just a little bit. Let me streamline this. Okay, when working with your spouse in business, what would you find one of the biggest obstacles or the biggest challenge has been, and how did you overcome that? You all are going to help me in this area. Yeah, you start.
So for my husband and I, we are the yin and the yang, however you say it. I am the one who will see something and I'll jump full-fledged into it. My husband, he has to have a plan for everything. I'll give you an example. We had a bus. We had a small bus. And, you know, the bus is just a small bus and we can go around. Well, his wife got very, I don't know what you would say, and we drove that bus all the way to Florida, okay? Knowing good and well that this wasn't the right type of bus, but it was good. We had a little, bumps while we were there, but we still made it through. Now, my husband is a truck driver. My husband is a certified CDOA licensed driver, and he was livid. But through that, he understands that sometimes you have to take chances in order for us to branch out, in order for the vision to come full-fledged. You have to not have the parachute. You have to trust God. And that was the thing for us. I had to really hone in that if we say we are who we are and we trust who we trust, God didn't give us those creative visions and ideas just to leave us. So you're going to have to step out. You're going to have to, how Apostle talks about, and launching into the deep. So that's one of the things.
Thank you. Elder Kim.
Yeah, I'm the one that needs the plan. So District Elder Smith, it comes up with these wonderful big ideas. He sees the big picture and he said, okay, let's do it. And I sit there and say, okay, but how you do? I don't know, find out how to do it. And so for me, it can be challenging. It's good, but it can be challenging because we parent together, we're in ministry together, we live together. I had to learn to set boundaries and say, okay, work is over. We're not at work right now, we're at home. This is me and you. Okay, church is over. Stop talking about this, but now, that was a while ago. Now everything is back to just melanin again. I'm just like, okay, yeah. So conversations blend together. We talk about church, we talk about business, we talk about work. Even when we're on vacation, the conversation is the same. So I can't help you because I need help myself with that. It has been a daunting task. It's good, but sometimes I'm like, okay, can we just turn everything off? And so there are times, though, that we do take time just for him and I to go away. Because there are too many things that we are involved in together, and we just need that time. Sometimes it's just, even if it's a spur of the moment thing where I say, okay, tonight is date night, let's go, you know, and we'll just take one phone and tell the kids, hey, we're going out for a few hours, we'll be back, and that's it, so we have to unplug. But it's a lot. It's been good because I can trust him. We have tried to have other business partners, and it didn't go well. It did not go well, I can tell you that. So I trust him. I believe that he trusts me. So for him to be my business partner that part is good because, like I said, I don't know anybody else I would, really go into business with on that level. So yeah, it's a challenge.
Lady Lee.
Okay. They pretty much said everything I was going to say. But I would say, I wouldn't really call it an obstacle, but I think it was like a learning experience. With us in business, working together is, I think one of the greatest things was learning how to coexist together in business and remain in existence while you're trying to coexist. Knowing your strengths and knowing your weaknesses, understanding what his weaknesses are and what his strengths are. And I'm the type of person, I have to see what we doing. Where we going, what are we doing? But my husband's like, no, let's just go, drive for it, go. You know what I'm saying? Let's just go. And so I realized that I had to be the one to, not to deter him from his great dreams and his great visions, because we don't want to do that, but how can I help influence or help bring these things to pass? And that's one of the things I think why we do work so well together is that he's the visionary and I'm the worker bee. And I'm okay with that because that's my strength, and him being able to see what I can't see and learning how to hush my mouth and follow.
Say that one more time.
That's hard.
Repeat that.
That's hard. Learning how to hush my mouth. And, if we fail, we fail, but remaining as one, existing together, doing what we can. I can say when we started Small Cakes in 2019, that was we had a lot of businesses before that. Like I said, they didn't work out. But when we started that one, we started it together. And I worked my strengths, he worked his strengths. And his strength was literally, and I'm not being funny, was talking to the people. Because he's that. That's what he does. He's the one that can draw people in. And I'm like the little behind the scenes person, which I'm okay with that, And then from that, because we learned to exist together in that business, we branched off and started other businesses, But it's a process, balancing, coexisting with one another, and not being easily offended is another thing.
That's
in
good.
business,
That's really
not being easily offended, learning how to take instruction and take impartation. And, and sometimes people will give you advice. You got to learn how to take what you need and throw the bones away.
Oh, yes.
Things of that nature. And, but work together, as one.
That's good. Thank you all for that advice. My husband owns Burgress Heating and Air. He's had for 9 years. And I started off as his secretary. I got fired a lot of times. Finally, the last time he rehired me, I realized I needed to train him. And so I trained him to do it, and now he's his own secretary. I don't have to do it anymore. We weren't able to find that balance, but we are each other's biggest supporters and encouragers. But we just couldn't work together. It just didn't work for us. Okay, now I want to speak to the young ladies. Let's see, I think a millennial and a Generation Y, I believe. Both y'all millennials? Okay. I need you all to tell me what it is like, or what it was like, starting at such a young age and just being able to make your mark. and to be respected. Sometimes I just turned 50. So for me, sometimes when I get in a room, and I'm in a room with a bunch of 60 and 70-year-olds, sometimes it's still in the profession. A lot of times I get the little girl, they try to little girl you. And you're trying to talk business. And with through the Holy Spirit has taught me how to navigate those rooms and not speak up the way I would want to in my flesh. So you all share with me how you all have had to navigate through that, not being little girled or talked down to, but some situations how you were able to continue to push forward and make your businesses successful.
Michael. Woo! That is rough. I wouldn't say it was that difficult. Coming from a traditional church and a traditional background, t-shirts is not, or just streetwear is not really accepted. So I just had to really market it and make them feel good. I had to make the older crowd feel special, feel like they were worthy, feel like they were a part of a movement that I was starting. So I was just encouraging them, like, you can do this. Like, you can be in front and be on the main stage or be in the pulpit and feel good. Don't feel like you need a tie to make you a pastor. A t-shirt will actually bring my generation to you. There's a gap in the church where we're not there, and I mean, I'm 28, just turned 28. So being in the church all 28 years of my life, I see that there's not many my age in the church. And I wouldn't say clothes is a part of it, but appearance and what you wear is a part of why there's a gap. We feel like they want suits and ties and we want t-shirts and jeans and still relay the same message. So pricing was a big portion of the gap. They thought $30 was too much for a t-shirt. Absolutely not. You're charging $30 for a shirt? And I'm like, well, Bishop, you spending $60 on a button-up. I mean, you like your designer in high fashion, and I don't think $30 is that much. So, some were turned away, and I just accepted it. I didn't go back and forth. I'm just not your audience, and I'm okay with that. I think I knew who I was and what I was bringing to the table was quality. I knew my worth. A lot of people don't know their worth. Young women, we feel intimidated by the men. No, we're just as much important. We are the designers. We are the back end of a lot of these brands. The secretaries run a lot of these brands. So as women, we have to hold ourselves accountable and know that we matter. And so I didn't let the man tell me who I was. I felt very comfortable. I'll walk in a room with older people and feel like we together. Like I'm knowledgeable. I had parents who preached to me and taught me, you're worthy. Know who you are when you walk in the room. Be proud and be confident. Confidence is going to take you a long way. Be happy, smile, and speak strong. Don't go in nervous. I'm not nervous at all. I'm the customer service who comes to you as if we're family. Hey sis, how are you? You look familiar. Don't know you from a can of paint. But you will think with my presence, I can draw a lot of people in all ages. I just use my gift. My mom was very, very passionate and an inspiration to me. Dr. Evelyn Gregory, she passed before my brand was even a thought. But through what she taught me has allowed me to get to where I am today. She's also very creative, hands-on. She sewed a lot. She made ties. And she was making banners for my churches. And so I used a lot of what she taught me. And confidence is really where I am today. I had a lot of confidence. I knew my worth. Price points, I knew what I was worthy of. You can't afford a $30 shirt. I'm sorry, but I'm just not for you. And that's what it was. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, I would say I'm a calm person. I talk when I need to talk, and I'm chill when I need to be chill. So I kind of always have a way about whatever I'm wearing, somebody's going to compliment something about what I'm wearing. So that's how I handle my business. When it comes to my business, you're going to see me wear it first. Like, if you want to know what it's going to look like, I'm going to wear it first. So I'm confident. If I'm not confident in anything else, I'm confident in how I dress. So that's one thing. Even coming here, I had to find products that would match this audience, because the stuff that I have, they might not like. And I got surprised because they liked the stuff that I had already. So it's just having your core audience is very important in business. I learned that at school, and I've seen that in business. People will like the stuff you put out if you're confident in what you have and your product. If they see you don't wear it, why would they wear it? Why should they wear it? So it's just being confident in your product and what you put out, and always knowing your audience, because the realness of it is they don't have to buy it. They really don't. But if they're supporting you, you gotta go to what they would like, or it's just no point of being a business owner.
What I'm hearing, the common theme in all this is that your gift will make room for you. And that the giftings that God has given you, you all are employing it in business. That the gift of the confidence that was instilled in you all at a young age, the mindset to want to push forward, the gift of knowing when to speak and not when to speak. All those things are coming into play here. Now, one other question, because we are all believers and very active in our ministries. Help me understand how you balance work, business, church, and family. Or if you don't have a family, just your life. How do you balance those things?
You asking me about balance? I balance it much better now. Before, everything for me just all ran together. I am a mom of 9 and a grandmother of about to be 10, and an auntie to a whole host of, nieces and nephews, some by blood and some by Christ. And so it all kind of ran together for me. I had to learn that as a wife, my husband is my biggest supporter, but I have to be a wife as well. I'm his biggest cheerleader, but he had to learn that, okay, I have to be the husband. We change. Even though we've been married for years, we change. So we had to go back to that consistent date night. And on date night, we take nothing and we talk to each other really like we just met each other. Because although, again, we've been together forever, things change and we don't really get an opportunity to really talk about that. With my kids, I had to learn that my children are grown now. I have very well equipped them. We call it the 1890 rule, 18 years and 90 days. On the 91st day, you don't live in our house. We feed you breakfast, we get a basket, and you put the key there because we have equipped you to do what you need to do. So mom had to understand that they're grown now. With my grandbabies, they are my grandbabies. So I had to adopt the philosophy that my mother adopted. Where you go when your kid doesn't have his hat and coat? I'll be the grandma when I need to be, you understand? But I'm not gonna be the grandmother because this is what you want to babysit. So I had to learn how to break that up and rightly divide it. Like you rightly divide the word.
It's good balance.
I had to learn to rightly divide and balance my household. Outside of that, I'm still working on that because I get called on a lot, and ministry and serving is just a passion of mine. So I'm learning that no is a complete sentence. It's a complete sentence.
That's good. That's good. That's
It's
good.
a complete sentence. And I'm learning that being selfish is not selfish. I'm learning that it's okay for me to, I go and eat something and don't really take the husband anything back home that day. Because some days I just need to be with me. So again, no is a complete sentence, and, and learning how to be a little selfish, okay?
Thank you for sharing that.
Balance is everything. I actually crashed. I've had blood pressure issues, and so one day, sitting in the hospital in Bowie Healthcare, I was looking at the ceiling tile. I said, "Girl, you are tripping. You gonna crash and burn?" And no. So what I did was I have family meetings. I run my family like a company. We meet. My kids sit down across. When they were little, they were like 4 and 5. I would sit at the table, and I would have them sit around the table. We would discuss things. I said, okay, now I'm going to take what we discussed back to your father. We're going to meet again. And I would present our concerns and our issues to him, and then he would say, okay, well, let's sit down and talk about it. And that's how I've always run them. And so this time I had a family meeting after one episode of just being burnt out. And I said, look, y'all are driving me crazy. I can't do it. We're going to have to get some order. So what I did was I developed a schedule. And because I have 6 children, only 1 grown, 5 are still in the house, they know now there's no last minute, oh, I have a science fair project that's due tomorrow and it's 7 o'clock at night and the only place open is CVS. Those days are over.
Right.
I don't do that anymore. So they know to tell me ahead of time to get on my schedule. I leave a little bit of time because my husband is a full-time pastor in addition to our businesses, and sometimes there are emergencies. But if you're not dying, if you're not, haven't been into a critical accident, or you're not on your way to jail, it's not an emergency. And so certain things, we have to schedule, and that's what I had to do. I do what I call a 10 by 10. I write down the night before. Each night I write down 10 things I'm going to accomplish the next day by 10 o'clock in the morning. So if I get nothing else done, whatever's done on my 10 by 10, I get it done. So that way my day is not wasted. My kids have really come into knowing that, yeah, Mom has a schedule. We got to keep in touch. Mom, I know I didn't tell you, but yeah, next week. I said, okay, next week is good. Let's get on the schedule. My husband was the hardest one because we worked together, and he just like, well, what do you have to do? And I'm like, I'm doing your stuff. I'm doing my stuff. I'm doing our stuff. So he finally had to come in after a couple of times of things not being, well, yeah, they were dropped. I dropped some things. I said, no, I'm not doing it. I can't do it. It's going to have to go on the schedule. So now they're on a schedule. Pretty much it usually works that way. So that has been a blessing to me. Like I said, ministry, those things come up. We have to do. But my regular business and household, it has to be on a schedule. There's no way one person can do all those things. And I know people want to say, well, the virtuous woman, Proverbs 31. Yes, she was virtuous. She had her hands busy in the marketplace and at home. She got up early, which I do rise early, and I do a lot of things. That's why I get those things done by 10 o'clock. But at the same time, I need a break, or I need some way to outlet. So sometimes it's just like you said, me time. Sometimes it's just me time. Me time might just be me taking a bubble bath, or me just watching TV by myself. Sometimes I get up at like 4:30 when nobody else is up, and after I pray and read my scripture, I'll sit and watch the news by myself because I like to watch the news. I'll read, during that time. I got like an hour and a half or maybe 2 hours before everybody's up. I do that so that I can have time to rejuvenate my mind and get my spirit together, because some days I just don't feel like talking to anybody in my house, because that's just where I am at 53. And so now, things that I don't want to do, and I have taken on positions. I just recently took on a position internationally, and it was very nice, but it's come to an end because I don't want to do it anymore. And I feel that things that I don't want to do anymore that don't bring me joy, I'm just not going to do it. If God gives me 70 years, I have 17 left, and I don't expect to spend them being miserable. I like to laugh. I like to joan. I like to have fun, cut up. We were laughing in here before you all came in. That's what I like to do. So I figure I'm going to spend my time doing those things. I like to praise. I like to be in worship. I'm going to spend my time doing those things. And so that's what I do. So when I get to a place where it's something that it no longer brings me joy, I release it. So certain things I am releasing. I'm in that vein. And it's okay. People ask you, well, why are you doing this? Because I don't want to anymore. It's done.
And that's okay. And it's okay.
Something about when you turn 50, you have an epiphany. You know what I mean? When you turn 50, you have an epiphany, and you're like, wait a minute, I am half 100. This means I don't have too many more summers left. You know what I mean? Thanks be to God. And you just get to a point where the husband will learn to fend for themselves. The children will learn to fend for themselves. I am every woman and not anymore. So when you turn 50, it's something about that.
Y'all talking real talk. Lady Lee.
Okay, she's talking about wait till you get there. Wait till y'all get 50. Well, we're not there yet. No. But, listening to everybody, I could say feeling overwhelmed is an indication that your structure is outdated.
That's good. Say that again. Say
I
that
said
again.
feeling overwhelmed is an indication that your structure is outdated. And I have been there. I was not always the best at juggling everything. I would find myself, oh, we gotta go to church. We gotta go here. And I get home, oh, gotta wash clothes. Gotta do this, gotta do that. Something is gonna go lacking. So I had to get to the point where, because I call myself like a hawk. I'm like the hawk, I guess, of my immediate family. Me, my husband, and my son, which is 7. I'm always the one, I got my hands in everything. I'm making sure this is right, making sure that is right. And eventually you begin to get overwhelmed. So you have to kind of go back to the table and say, okay, I need to figure out what I need to do to keep balance. And the reality is that you may not always individually be able to keep the balance. So you have to reach beyond yourself. I call it letting somebody else hold the baby. I use that in entrepreneurship. Sometimes you have to step back and allow other people that you trust to help you to accomplish the things that you need to accomplish. And I'm not ashamed to say it. I have somebody that comes to my house and they will make sure that my laundry is done. And that's not me being a bad mom.
That's right.
Listen, when you grow, you know.
That's it.
That's not me being a bad mom. That's not me being a bad wife. It's just simply me not having the time to do it because I'm doing something else. When it gets to that point, when I can sit down from doing the other things, then I can go back to doing those things. But at this point, you don't have to be ashamed to say, hey, I need help. Everybody say it one time. Say, I need help.
I need help.
Sometimes we need help. We need help. A lot, like we've been saying, a lot of the weight that our husbands have, for those of us that are married, what they do, we do too.
That's right.
If he wants to do it, that means you have to do it too. And so you have to learn how to find that balance and make sure that your structure is continually being updated. When I didn't have a son, that was one less thing I didn't have to do. But then when you start adding children, you start adding businesses and multiple businesses, it's more things that pulls on you and your attention. And like you were saying, you can't kill yourself while growing other things. You have to have that balance and that structure. So you have to make sure that you're not overwhelmed. If you're overwhelmed, that means you're doing too much and you need to find which avenues I need to take to pull some help to help me keep my sanity and help me stay in position, because you want to work with a clear mind. When you're overwhelmed and you're doing too much and you feel like, you're not going to be good for yourself or anybody else. So you just want to make sure that you're keeping your structure in place. Whatever you have to do to keep your structure in place, you're going to keep your sanity in place.
That's good. About 2 years ago, our last kid went off to college, and we became empty nesters, and I hired a housekeeper. And I remember my husband didn't understand why I needed a housekeeper, because it's like, well, the kids are gone, Yeah, but I didn't realize how much dirt we track in, just the two of us, that we were blaming on the kids. And so, yeah, sometimes you just need help, and you got to be okay with that. You got to be okay with it. Sometimes it's you might have to skip a couple of dinners out. That's fine, but I'm going to pay the housekeeper. One less job for me. Prajean, share with us.
Okay, so what they said is great. Me, how I keep a balance is the gym. I am very big on health. I am health. Health is wealth. Okay, no health, no money, because you're gonna get sick and it's over. Sicknesses are real. So for me, how I start my day is the gym. I don't care what's gonna happen, I'm going to the gym. I have to. That's how I keep my life, my mind clear, my body clear. I'm gonna drink smoothies, shakes. I'm gonna eat right. I love to eat, but I'm gonna continue to make sure I feed my body the nutrition that's needed to keep energy. Energy is needed these days. Being here at the convention, I am drained. I have not been to the gym and my body is feeling it. And it's like gym is needed. But the gym is one and family is another. I make sure I put my family first. There's times where I'm called to be at a pop-up and I might have my nephews graduate or a birthday. I'm going with my family. I'm okay to say no. No, like I'm not a yes person. I might not even answer you, and that's my no. You might not even get a text back, but I just can't. I like to keep my family, they're there. Family is very important. And getting help. Ladies, women, let's get help. You can't do it alone. Even having my best friend here, I'll call her in a heartbeat. I need you. I need your help styling. I don't know what to wear. I don't know what to come out with. I don't know what the new products are. Trends are happening every day. There's something new out in the market. And for us to stay in business, we have to stay with the trends. I'm in fashion. So I can't keep putting out the same old t-shirt. It works sometimes, but nobody wants to keep buying the same stuff over and over. So I have to research. I stay up to date on what's out. Magazines, reading is another thing. I didn't like to read at first, but I'm starting to read now because knowledge are in the pages. But wealth is important, health is important, balancing your family, saying no, and having a friend, even if it's not family, having a friend that is there with you throughout the process will get you far.
That's good.
Yes, let me start with that since we both up here. Yeah, we like feed off of each other, literally. We're like the opposite but the same. So we feed off each other creatively, even if something personally is going on. She's probably the only person I would tell, or my mom. So my balance is family and church because they're the same thing. Literally, my church is my family. I see them every week, maybe multiple times. So they really are my balance. They support me everything I do. Like they cite everything I do, even when I'm like, okay, it's not even that serious. But they really support everything that I do. And we kind of support each other because it's such a big family. So they really are my balance. Another thing, I was working during the school year, so I was a sub. So being around kids, they really, they will lighten your heart. So I would say definitely being around kids. I would get off early, go deliver packages, and my day would be better because I knew I had a schedule. I would get off at like 2, deliver my packages, and my day is over. So it really is good to have a balance because too much of one thing can really kill you, literally. Some people have been in church their whole lives, and then they will literally be on the pulpit, and that could be their last day. Like, we've seen it happen on TV and everything. So it's like, God gives you wisdom. You can't just use all of your life on one thing. He gives us life so we can live and live through him. So that's what I think.
That's good. All right. All right. I tell you, I told y'all we were in for a treat. It's a wealth of knowledge on the stage. The last question I want to ask y'all, and we're going to wrap it up. Tell me one thing you would do different in business. One thing that you would do different. For me, the one thing I would do is hire people. Hire more people. You can't do everything yourself because you will get burnt out. I would have set out with the team, started with the team, and then went from there. I think I would have scaled a lot faster. I would have grown a lot faster had I just set out to hire people from the beginning. Yeah, you got to split your money. You got to slice the pie up, but it's worth it.
For me, the one thing that I would have done differently, I would have done it right the first time. And what I mean by doing it right the first time is when you come into wanting to do business, and especially do transportation business, there are certain things that you have to have, certain certifications, certain licenses, and things like that. And in the beginning, I didn't do that. I had the means to get the transportation, and I went full throttle, and I did it. I was smart enough to have insurance and business insurance, but other things I didn't have, so that didn't open up my market as much as it could have been. So I would have done that correctly the first time.
She's saying be legit. Be a legitimate business. Don't advertise you are an LLC if you are not an LLC. Do not advertise that you are a corporation if you are not a corporation, because people will look you up. They will look you up on the state site and embarrass you and see that you are not really a business.
I probably would have started sooner. I was playing it safe for a long time. I just helped my husband with AK floors, and I was scared to launch out on my own. He had been begging me to get my real estate license for years, and it wasn't until I got the last push and I decided, because in my mind, I was supposed to have a government job. I have a bachelor in communications from Hampton University. I wanted a government job, and I was going to retire from the government, have me a good old pension, and it never happened. I had people that told me they could get me in the government, and I had offers, and it never happened. Oh, the job got pulled. I said, are you kidding me? I should have a government job. What is going on? I wanted to get paid on the 15th and 30th like everybody else, but it never happened that way for me. So I just wish that I wasted a lot of time, not knowing my value. I did. And so I wish that I would have known my value a lot sooner, and I would have gotten started a lot sooner. So looking back, if I could have told myself 15 years ago, I would have started 15 years ago, definitely.
I don't know. Okay, I guess it's more personal for me. I guess I just speak for myself. I think if there was one thing that I would have done differently, I probably would have sought out a mentor. A mentor. A lot of things that I know now, I didn't know when I first started. And so, not that it slowed my process down, but it did kind of stagger me a little bit. Because people know what you need to know. And it's really crazy, I have to say crazy, to try to reinvent the wheel when somebody else already has the knowledge that you need.
We've been there.
And one thing I found out, like in the point that I'm at now, I do have mentors now, but I wish I would have sought them out sooner, because the reality is most of the time mentors don't go looking for mentees, but you have to go after them. And I wouldn't say it was maybe because of my lack of understanding, but I think it was more so my inability to trust other people with what God has given me and what I see myself doing. You have to trust somebody. You don't have to be an island unto yourself, but if I could go back, I would definitely find and identify people who are where I want to be and run after them, and build that relationship so that I can glean from them and not make certain mistakes along the way, things like that.
That's good.
As
I was thinking, but I would say learning. I wish I would have known about credit. Um, yeah, I didn't know. I have a dad who's financially like on the books. He's boom, boom, number. If a number's off, he's trying to find out where. He's still paying bills through paper. And I'm like, Dad, we're on electronic. No, I need to see if the bill went up. Verizon has charged me too much money. I'm calling to see how they done did that. And I just be like, just pay it automatic. So just knowing about credit, how important credit is. Because people just think they need a lot of money. No, you actually don't. Credit can actually do way better than the actual dollar bill. And I was like, man, had I known, it's just credit. Just learning more and more about credit. The more you build a group credit, the more your business can actually flourish and go far, and you can expand. You can invest with credit, and then you'll get the money back. So I just wish, I'm 5 years in. As of April, my business has made it 5 years now. Yes. So I'm in the process of now knowing how important credit is. And with credit, you can do what you want in life.
And my company is YB Cares Consulting, and the CARES actually stands for Credit, Access to Resources, Entrepreneurs, and Success. So I totally understand where you are with that.
I would definitely say that what you said about taking risks, as far as my me being a wardrobe stylist, I want to do like red carpets. So I just feel like I have to find like a mentee who can show me what to do, because I know a lot from research, and I know all the trends. Like I literally look at clothes all day. So it's just having somebody who's already there. Like I know all the right people. It's like, how do I get in contact with them? But definitely taking risks, just jumping out there, because nothing, you gotta try. So definitely having motivation for myself. I had motivation my sophomore year of college. I just went to Fashion Week by myself. Like I just volunteered and was at one of the highest fashion shows for Fashion Week. Now I'm like, dang, where did all that go? Like I found that on my own. So just getting back motivation, having consistent motivation, and getting in rooms that you know you can be in. Yeah.
All right, so you aspiring entrepreneurs out there, you've listened, you've sat, you've heard, you're probably wondering. We talked a little bit about the pretty side of entrepreneurship. We've talked a little bit about the ugly side of entrepreneurship. If you're thinking about it, some of the things, just a quick recap: get a mentor. That's what Kingdom Entrepreneurs Network is all about. We're about mentoring people, helping those. If you don't, we are a resource. We don't have all the answers, but we have a network that we're trying to create and build here in International Bible Way. We have our last conference that we had in South Carolina. One of the things that we did, we got people to share what their careers were. We had a lot of retirees in the audience, and I was so impressed by the many careers, those that are retired and those that are currently still working, professionals that have a wealth of knowledge. From medical field to fashion. There was one lady that had worked Essence, the fashion fair. Fashion shows back in the 70s. I was just so impressed. But it's so much wealth of knowledge here in International Bible Way, and that's what we're trying to do. Part of the vision of Apostle Rooker, part of that net-breaking year, is bringing business owners together as well as professionals so that we can share this knowledge with each other, so that we can be successful, so that we can take that money and we can bring real influence to the kingdom, that we can really be a real influence and a voice in the earth. We know that it's not just about money, but it takes money to make things happen. And businesses and entrepreneurship is the key that helps bring this wealth that's sitting there, that's stored up for the wicked, that's waiting, that the wicked have, and is stored up for the righteous. It's for us. is for us. And if you have any questions, we can take a few moments. If you have any questions that you want to ask us, if we don't have the answers today, I promise you we will work hard to connect you to someone that does, because that's what we are here for here in International Bible Way.
How y'all doing? Can you hear me okay? Because I know my voice
Yes.
is going in and out. So I know that you said earlier that you went through a lot of failed businesses. Do you feel like some of that failed business was because it wasn't on God's timing and or because you didn't properly have the tools to make them successful at that point?
That's a good question. For me personally, I won't say it was not necessarily the tools. Not every time. I think sometimes it may have been the tools, and then sometimes it may have been the timing. But there are so many factors that go into starting a business, a lot of which is one of the things I said, doing your research and understanding and knowing like she spoke about what your target market is, what is your purpose, what is your goal, and not being moved from that. I would say some of the failures were maybe just not knowing how to get what I was offering out there, if that makes sense. You have something good, but you have not done the research or the study. You don't have the tools. That's part of the tools to make sure that you're putting yourself out there in front of the right audience, or expanding yourself, exhausting every avenue that you can to make sure that your product is being put in the right rooms and being put before the right people. But studying, like I said, learning, research is so important when you want to start a business. It's very important for you to know, like what your market is, what your goals are, what you're striving for, and make sure that you've done the first things that you need to do and not try to jump to the end, because the dollar, won't last. You can make the money, but it won't last if you don't know how to budget it. Certain things like that, understanding. Just because I have the money doesn't mean I need to spend the money. It's a lot of things that go in there that you have to learn. But you have to seek that out. You have to put yourself in position, by reading and by, putting yourself around other entrepreneurs, people who you see have what you want to have, because somebody's doing what you're doing. They're just doing it in a different way. And we were talking about that earlier, that it's enough money for everybody. It's enough money for everybody. Because one thing that I use and that is so amazing, and I'm gonna let somebody else talk, is that when you see a McDonald's go up, you look down the street, it's a Burger King. Look a little further, I'm from the South. Y'all think y'all got something else, Carl, but we got Hardee's. They're all right there together because they understand that personal preference is key. One day I want a Big Mac, but the next day I might want a Whopper. So everybody is gonna make money, but those are things that you have to put yourself in position to understand and to learn, that it's enough for all of us, and we don't have to fight over it. You don't have to fight over anything. It's enough for everybody.
And I can also speak to failed businesses. I've had many careers, career changes in my lifetime, but also in that research location. We say in real estate, location, 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 but in business, it matters. Not so much about your competition, but knowing who your potential customers are. Are they really going to travel 30 minutes across town for your service? Not when they pass 20 more. I had a barber shop. I was a licensed barber, which at that time in the city I was in, there were no women barbers. I moved back to my hometown. There were no women barbers, and they was not having it. They were not coming. It just didn't fit. And now 5 years later, there were women barbers popping up everywhere. But at that time, it was not a thing. And I chose to have it in a area that was not necessarily predominantly African American. I set up a really, like, what I considered a high-end type barber shop on the side of town that nobody was coming, didn't look like me. So that was really important. The concept was great. The idea was great. I felt that I was moving in God's timing because he allowed me to get the loan to start the business, but the location, that made a difference. I think had I been in more of the urban area, I think it would have taken off. But you live, you learn, and you do better.
I'm gonna say we have had a few failed businesses, but one thing I like about my business partner, which is my husband, he's never afraid to try. It doesn't work, it doesn't work. I won't say that it's because it's not in God's timing, because I believe the word when it says that he came to give us life and have it more abundantly, and I believe that he's going to give us the desires of our heart. I think that I'll have to defer to Lady Sharella and say she's right. Research is key. We had AK Floors had a distributorship one time where we were in Eastern Shore where we live now, and we realized that we do hardwood floors and the sandpaper, the refinishing. It's a 2-hour drive to get back to a distributorship. So we started our own. And everything was going good until they realized that we were the owners because we were black. And so then I was too prideful, to be honest with you. I could have made it work, but I was too prideful. I wanted the people to know that we owned it. We both did. But if I had been smart, I would have hired me a white or maybe an Asian salesperson. And it doesn't matter because I would have still been getting paid. So I had to learn from that. So yeah, that business didn't go through. It, we could say it was a failure, but it was just a learning lesson. So every business, even though it may not go right then, you have to keep trying, because Tyler Perry didn't become Tyler Perry. He had many failed plays. I Could Do All Bad by Myself. I think he had 10 people to show up in the theater, and then now look at him now. So I just use him as an example. Eventually, if you're passionate about it and do your research and find out who your audience is and where they are, and focus in on having the business to cater to that, it will be successful.
Another thing about what Kim was saying, you can't depend on your family and friends to be your supporters in your business, okay? It hurts that your family and friends aren't your biggest supporters, but your family and friends know you. You understand what I'm saying? So some of your businesses will fail. Some of my businesses fail because because I support everybody. I really look to my family and friends and the people that I supported. It's like this: if you're gonna give somebody $1, you gave them the $1, don't expect for it to come back. You understand? The same way in business, if you're gonna go and support somebody else, you can't be upset because they don't give you that same support. What you have to do is you now have to move your targeted audience to another place, because there are a host of people out there who will welcome your business, your product idea, will welcome your customer service. And again, that thing with your family and your friends, yeah. At first I was like, I failed, because I got all this family and all these friends and nobody wanted to help me with X, Y, and Z. And I was angry about that. But then I had to learn that, wait a minute, I can go over here on this side of town and, they love me over here. And the discount.
They're not asking for it.
And they don't ask for it.
They're not asking for it.
And I really had to teach my family and friends that when you walk into the Louis Vuitton store, you don't ask for no discount. When you go to Miss Lee's to get your nails done, you gonna pay her before she finish your nails. You understand? So you come to my house and eat my food and you love how I cook, but you'll call me and ask me, can I do a baby shower for $400? And you got 1,500 people. When we doing that at? You understand what I mean? So if I can go give you the hookup, let me give you the hookup. But don't come because we family and we friends asking for it. And we shouldn't expect that. We shouldn't expect it.
The last, just to get back on the failures. Okay, so I have products and services that I offer. And 7 times out of 10, my products come out wrong. I talk to manufacturers all day long. I am seeing what they're making for me. I'll draw it up, give the measurements, get back the logo's missing. Now, I done paid in full. The manufacturers is over in Afghanistan, Pakistan. They want money first. And they don't want layaways. No, we want our $1,000, $1,200 right now. Like, you don't pay, you won't get a product. So shipping, $700. So shipping can cost more than the actual product that you're making. So let's just say you do makeup. It costs them $3 to make it, shipping $15. Now hold up. The math is not mathing, but you'll get the product back. Ain't no makeup in the palette. So what do you do from there? You have just now invested $2,200 into a product, and you did the math already. You said, well, I'm gonna break this up and I can now market it and retail it at this price because I'm expecting my service to come back the way I paid for it. That happens in the Pray Apparel business 45% out of the time. Sometimes I just be ready to throw it away. I'll just sit back, I'll call it like, I can't believe they done did me again. I done paid y'all all my money. I have invested into my brand millions of times and y'all can't get this right. Everybody knows the R in my logo is backwards. They're turning my logo upside down. I done sent y'all this logo thousands of times. What I'm trying to say is that in successful businesses, there's more failures. They're not showing us that though. Being on social media, they're only showing the good. They're only showing that they grew from the beginning and jumped to Z. They didn't show B, C, D, F, G, H, I, J. They went from A to Z. So, in small businesses, we get excited because we see businesses profiting and, oh my God, they're doing so good, I can do that. Once you fail, it's like, now they didn't tell me they was gonna fail. They didn't tell us this part. So as a failed business that I'm in, we're gonna fail. And I'm here to tell anybody that wants to start a business, you're going to fail. And that's the part, that's the pill you gotta swallow. Any business, you're going to fail. There is no business that will not fail. You will lose money as an entrepreneur. You'll probably lose more than you'll gain in the first 5 years. In my business, I'm just now seeing a little bit of profit. I'm not even at as much money as I've spent out. I spent a lot of money. I've invested a lot of money, my dad's money. I've invested in, I'm trying to get that back. But as a growing business, you're gonna fail. And there's no way around that. Just, be creative, research, do as much research as you can, try to limit, but we gonna fail to get successful.
You have another question?
This is to the panel for those who have had some successful businesses. I know you say you had a lot of failures, but I can see that you all have a lot of successes. My question is, I've had a janitorial company now for 23 years, and the first 9 years were very, 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 very good. And then it went, a lot of contractors went sour, and so it was bad, got really bad, had to lay off almost half of the staff. And then it got good again, you had to hire again. And then now it's on the downturn after COVID, which you had to get rid of almost 80% of the staff again. And so we're on the way back up. How are you, I don't know if you all had this roller coaster ride and still being maintained in the business. How do you deal with the rise and the falls, being in the same business? I know sometimes you go to a different thing. Well, I actually have 2 other businesses that are compensating for that one. But I'm talking about that one business that keeps on going way up and then way back down and then way up and way back down.
I'm a real estate agent, and the roller coaster ride is what real estate is all about. It is ebbs and flows, it's feast or famine. So what I've learned, and I've had to learn it the hard way, is one, you've got to know how to budget. You've got to know how to save. You've got to be wise with your spending choices, as well as understanding that you need multiple streams. You cannot just be, I can't just be a real estate agent. That's how I expanded into setting up businesses for people and doing credit repair. And that's how I expanded into doing mortgages. Because if you don't have multiple streams of income when you are an entrepreneur, and I must say this, without having a husband with a solid business, I could not do what I do. Without his income, I couldn't do it because there are so many ebbs and flows. But the main thing is just managing your money, understanding it and using wisdom, asking God for wisdom to give you, to be a good steward over your finances. Because even with that, sometimes you have a heart to give because you just want to be a giver or you're just a giver. But even in that, asking God for wisdom on how to handle your money. Well, we thank everyone for their questions. Let's give these ladies a hand on this panel. We thank you all for tuned in, those that tuned in online, those are here in person. We are so excited about our first minding the business that pays you. We are so excited. We thank God for our bishop, Bishop Ricky Carr, who is here with us, who is our bishop over the Kingdom Entrepreneurs Network team of International Bible Way. We're just so grateful for what God is doing, where we're headed in Bible Way. The net-breaking year is here, and we are all here to help you with any questions you may have. Also, look out online for IBW On Demand. A lot of these workshops and seminars and good information is going to be posted there. If you have not subscribed, do so, because we are trying to be a holistic approach to ministry where you can find all that you need here in International Bible Way. We thank you and God bless you.
Give them a hand. Thank God for this team. Let me see that book real quick. Just top book.
To giveaways.
Yeah.
We have some giveaways. Yes, yes.
I'm good. She gave you too many. We got that. Okay. Good. We have some books to give away. This is from Dr. Angelo Logan, Power to Prosper. Amen. How many books are here? It's 2 of them?
We have 3 books from him.
Give me those from him. There you go. That's the favor. Hold on. There you go. Take that one back. There you go. Who wants a book?